about 3 hours per day of listening your voice. One day I was...
You are now listening to the IELTS podcast. Learn from tutors and ex-examiners who are masters of IELTS preparation. Your host, Ben Worthington.
Hello there, IELTS students. In this tutorial, we are going to be speaking to a very successful, smart and intelligent student called Olga. And so, welcome to the podcast, Olga.
Thank you.
All right. Can you tell us, can you give an introduction about yourself? Like what you're doing, why you're taking IELTS and where you're from? Is that all right?
I'm a Russian woman. I live in Moscow. I'm 37 years old. Actually, I'm an IT project manager, and I've been working as IT project manager for about 15 years. But at the moment, I'm on a maternity leave. I have a 2-year-old son. Actually, that's it.
No worries, Olga. No worries. Just from that brief introduction, I guess you decided to take the IELTS exam while you were on maternity leave. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. The reason why I have decided to take an IELTS was that actually my son was diagnosed with ASD. It's autistic spectrum disorder.
Right.
Yeah. And I have decided to find more friendly environment for him, let's say like this.
Wow, that is very interesting. Wow. So your plan is to emigrate out of Russia to find a better environment for your son.
Yeah, my husband and I are actually quite successful IT guys. Actually, we have everything in our home country in Moscow, but unfortunately, I realized that we have no infrastructure for such kind of disease, like let's say like this.
Mm-hmm. Wow, what a powerful motivating factor, no?
Yeah, you don't expect something like this to happen to you. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's so mind-blowing, And
actually, I'm very thankful to you, Ben, and to your team that actually I have bought your course in June, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we found ourselves, me and my husband found ourselves fully exhausted with all these programs, let's say, like it's going with our son. And we just packed our bags and moved to Montenegro for a couple of months to chill, to have a rest near the sea.
Yeah.
Because, we have some opportunities to work remotely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just realized that I have no energy and stamina to work on your course. And I asked your team to postpone my enrollment for a couple of months when we will get back home. And I was pleased to receive almost immediate answer that everything is fine. You have your course frozen for how many time you need, and just let us know when you need it back, and we return your access to you. And when I came back to Moscow, I wrote an email to Nadine, and I have started to prepare with you. So thanks again for this opportunity to recover and to continue.
Absolutely, no. I totally want to support. Life gets in the way, and we all need just to take a step back, pause things, and just regroup, recollect, and then jump back in once the energy bar is back up full. really. Yeah. Okay, so right, let me just summarize. So you wanted to take a break, so you went to Montenegro to go to the sea. You froze your participation in the online IELTS course.
Yeah, for 2 months,
Gotcha.
actually.
Okay. Then you regrouped, and then you returned to, and all the time you were working remotely. Is that right?
My husband was working remotely. I was taking care of my son and of my husband.
All right, gotcha. And then you went back to Moscow. Yeah?
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay then. And in Montenegro, did you do any kind of preparation, or like listening to English audio books or watching films?
Yeah, I was trying hard to do some listening.
Yeah.
But I had just 1 hour per day when my son was sleeping in the middle of the day, and actually I wasn't progressing. So that was my
It's so frustrating, isn't it, when you don't see that
progression? I just trying to take the listening test from the internet, from the previous IELTS tests. There are a lot of examples of in internet, and I was always just 5.5, 60, 5.5, 50. So for 2 months I wasn't progressing. So I was on the same level all the time. So it was frustrating.
How did you end up improving this listening score?
Frankly, I started to listen to your podcasts. It's not an advertisement, it's true.
Gotcha.
You have inspired me a lot. And I was listening to you all the time that I can, when I was preparing food for my son, when I was working at the street with him. And actually, I believe it became about 3 hours per day of listening to your voice. One day I was really tired. I'm sorry. Kind of content, let's say that this is, but I've got some inspiration, and you push me a little bit in a good way.
Gotcha.
And after that, I started to listen to any other podcasts, just BBC, news, arts and design, any subject that I would like to listen today, for example. Actually, BBC has a lot of different podcasts.
Yeah.
And for some time it was like white noise for me.
Yeah, I totally understand.
I didn't understand almost anything, some words, phrases, or
Yeah.
But the main point was to continue with this frustration, to overcome this frustration. And I just let things go. Okay, I don't understand almost anything, but I will continue.
I will persevere, yeah.
Yeah. When you learn, the progress is not linear.
It's not linear.
Sometimes it feels like you are on the same plateau.
Yeah.
For a long time. But then it's a very complicated thing. And actually, one day I found myself that, I understand everything that was saying in this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, not everything, but almost, 80%, 85%. Let's take an IELTS listening example from internet. And I found myself on the 7.0 level.
Wow. It's a beautiful experience, isn't it? When you make those breakthroughs, it's just absolutely beautiful. I remember one guy, actually, Javier, very clearly. He just walks into the living room and I'm like, "You all right, Javier? Do you have a good weekend?" And he's just like, "Whoa." And his eyes popped open and he was like, "I understand you." And it just goes back to what you were saying. Like the progress isn't linear. It's kind of, it's weird with languages. There's kind of like jumps and like mini breakthroughs. But there's one thing that I just want to elucidate. I want to highlight for the listeners. And that's like, there's two really good nuggets of information that Olga's just shared with us. Number one is that doing the practice tests this is a good strategy. Well, three things actually, like the immersion, listening to the podcast and doing the practice test, but also having the gumption and having the insight to realize, okay, I'm not really progressing with this mode of learning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to vary my listening input, and I'm going to listen to, as you said, art and design, BBC podcasts. I'm going to vary it and start listening to new material, new accents, new topics. And then I'm going to come back and do another test. I'm not just going to keep doing test after test after test. It's obvious that I need to do something else, you know? So I think that's a really good strategy, especially, well, probably for the reading and probably for the listening as well. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Olga. So you started listening to, you said art and design podcasts and things like that to get more, like, because you're interested in art and design, is that right?
I just was interested in every IELTS related subject. I was listening about pollution, of everything that actually can somehow occur on the exam, some relationships, nutrition, every general topics that actually can give me an ideas of what to say.
Gotcha. Super. So you were filling your head up with ideas, which I guess probably helps for the writing as well. Yeah?
Yeah. I was trying to kill a few rabbits at the same time, with one shoot.
to kill a few birds with one shot.
A few birds, yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So in the end, so we've looked at the listening. What did you do to prepare for the reading, the writing, and the speaking?
For reading, to prepare for reading, actually nothing. Because initially it was quite easy for me, and I just read The Guardian on a regular basis because it's my, like habit.
Yeah.
I like the opinions column there. I just liked to read it. So, frankly, I don't know. I spent about 2 hours maybe per week with reading. So just to keep fit, it wasn't something special.
Yeah. Can I just interrupt you for the listeners? Like, this is another important point that Olga's just touched on, is that she found something that she enjoyed. You found something that you enjoyed.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and then once you find that you enjoy it, it's just easier to stick with it. And I'm guessing that you probably still read The Guardian now,
yes.
even though IELTS is long gone.
Yes.
It's something that you enjoyed. It's something like part of the English language that you could adopt and just make your own. And you probably, Okay, super. Good point. So you carried on, so you were reading The Guardian about 2 hours a week.
So we are coming to the main thing, and the main reason why I have bought your course. This is the writing and especially task 2 essay.
Everybody loves task 2, writing task 2.
Yeah. I was more or less fine with the writing a letter in task 1, because I'm an IT girl and I wrote a lot of letters. So it is intuitively fine. I have some mistakes with, formal, informal, but in general, it's okay for my desired band. So, essay 2, task 2, I have spent quite a lot of time with personal tutor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I am a technical girl.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? Something of nothing. It's a challenge for me. Also, I am a deep introvert, actually, and I don't like to, to talk a lot about nothing.
Gotcha. I totally understand. Like this idea of small talk and idle chit chat. It's horrible, isn't it? It's absolutely horrible.
I'm not a chatty person. Even in my native language, I just avoid any situations when I just have to talk about weather, blah 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 blah. I just trying to escape this.
Okay, well, don't emigrate to England then, okay? Because England's full of small talk. It's horrible.
Yeah. And essay is all about Okay, you have to describe some points, but this is one sentence. In my case, and this is not enough. Okay, 2-3 sentences.
Gotcha.
I was struggling with this actually since my learning at school. It was perfect. I got perfect marks in technical subjects, but literature and essays was not quite good for all my life. And I was actually sure that it's not possible to develop this skill in my almost 40 years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Did this person? You had a tutor, yeah? Did
yes,
he?
For half a year, yeah.
Sorry. Did they help you with the writing, or were they more for the speaking?
She helped me with the writing and with the speaking, with both things. Okay. But I found myself still frustrating in subject I have to write an essay to.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So all the time it was quite a big stress. So she provided me with the structure of the essay. Actually, you can find it in internet, and she forced me to practice a lot. If subject was close to me, like I don't know, traveling or something, I was fine with it. If something was quite far from me, I was just stuck, no ideas, just nothing in my mind. And
but did your listening, sort of like your listening time when you were listening to different podcasts and different topics, did that help generate ideas when it came to task 2?
Yes.
It did. Okay, so this is one way how you overcame this sort of like my mind goes blank issue, was to listen to lots of different materials and fill your brain with
yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I found actually the same idea in your course, that if you don't know what to write, you have to research the internet and somehow find idea. So and also the Guardian with the topics actually quite related to IELTS topics was helpful also.
Yeah.
But my tutor, she didn't force me to read the internet, let's say like this.
Gotcha. So although she was a good teacher, she didn't give you the skills or the complete package of skills that you needed or the direction or the coaching you needed for task 2. Is that right?
Yes, but I felt not quite confident.
Gotcha. Okay, understood. So, how did you solve this problem? Like, how did you boost your confidence?
As I said, I am a technical girl, and you provided me with the magical formula.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And actually, that was the key for me personally. For some other person, maybe it's not. But for me, I just, the point, For example, blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and late in the course you have provided some exact structures of sentences.
Yes.
And actually, on the IELTS test, I have used quite a lot of them.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I was scaring a little bit. I thought that examiner will understand that I'm writing like on script. Or... You understand what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But we got away with it, no? We got away. High five.
But everything was fine. Actually, I have read the essay. In the end, there are a lot of my personal words and ideas. So yeah. But exact structures helped a lot. You advised to use just a couple of them for the essay, but in fact, I have used, I don't know, maybe 5, so almost half of the essay was with the structure,
Wow.
exact structures you have provided, but with my own ideas, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
The result was 7.
Wow. Wonderful. Well done there, Olga. Well done. Congratulations for that. And I'll just say for the listeners that it is important that you not only use the structure, but you kind of adapt it to your argument. You know, you can't
Absolutely.
you've got to adapt it, and you've got to adjust. You might have to adjust your argument to fulfill the structure and the question. And there is a little bit of skill in this, because I've seen essays that have used the structure, but it didn't really suit the argument, and the student didn't get this, you know? So this is why there's lots of like essay corrections included in the course to make sure that we get to grips with this structure and we can use it effectively. And when it is used effectively, it will deliver results. But I know what you mean as well, Olga, about using these copy-paste sentences that it could be, I don't know, it might seem like kind of cheating, but it's not really cheating, because these are sort of like a universal high-scoring sentences. But if you use them effectively, you know, and if you use it with your own ideas that you put in there, then it is a powerful way to score higher, to improve. So
Yeah.
So you needed a 7, right? And you got this.
Yes.
Over a 6.
7, yes.
You needed over a 6, basically. Yeah. On the test day, did you do the computer-based one, or did you do the pen and paper? Oh, you did computer-based.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you remember your question?
Yes, it was about wearing a fashionable clothes becomes very important for people. Do you think it is positive or negative development? Something like this.
Okay. And can you remember your ideas? Can you remember your argument?
I said something that you have to use clothes, maybe fashionable ones, for your process. If you, I don't know, going for an interview for a director position, you have to wear something for this. But yeah, I think that people have to focus on something, on creating something. People have to focus on improving lives, not on the clothes. And as an example was Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg. Steve Jobs was always wearing black long sleeve and a pair of jeans. Mark is also with a gray T-shirt and a pair of jeans. Except when he is on, I don't know, president board or something special. These two guys have changed our lives with their, let's say, inventions. So my point was, don't be a slave of a passion. Use it for your purposes.
Interesting. There's two good things that I like about this answer. One is that it's very unique, But it also proves the point that you can answer anyway, but you just need to back it up. There's no right or wrong answer. There's ridiculous answers, and there's crazy answers, and there's outrageous answers. But if you can back them up with at least some kind of knowledge or real world examples, then you've got a license. You've got a license, and you can do this. What I like about your examples, Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, it's like instant. Everybody knows about these people, and also the dress sense. It kind of like comes as an afterthought once you start thinking about these examples. And second, you said a very useful collocation for this argument, which was a slave to fashion. Yeah, I imagine you probably used that in your writing as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent. Yeah. That would have picked up points because that's natural use of the language. It's a collocation, and it's almost like an idiomatic phrase. You know, you could say a slave to fashion or a fashion victim. They mean similar things.
I didn't know this.
They mean broadly similar, but and I imagine you would have probably picked up this terminology, possibly from doing all the reading in The Guardian, and listening in all these different sources. So this is, it just really emphasizes the logic and the rationale behind doing all this sort of like extra work and making it a habit and really immersing yourself. So yeah, well done there, Olga. Well done. And the computer-based test, that was pretty comfortable for you? You enjoyed that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Again, I'm an IT girl.
Exactly, yeah. It's a no-brainer.
I always work with the computer. Yeah, but actually the main reason why I was taking the computer-based test was essay. Because I write something, I delete and write again. I delete, write again and again and again. And in the end, it's clean and readable.
Yes.
But when I was doing the handwriting, in the end, it's all messy.
I think it's much more of a challenge because if you want to go back and edit and add a phrase and add a sentence and all this stuff, you can do this with your written work, but it ends up looking like a train crash. You've got all these edits, it becomes more of a challenge to read, and this is like friction for the examiner. Doing it computer-based, you've got this luxury, which really, it really suits the online system we have as well, of like thinking of ideas, then building out the example, then building out the argument, because you can add and edit and just follow the process. So, okay, so we've kind of covered the writing now. What about the speaking? How did you prepare for that?
I was listening to a course, and frankly, it wasn't enough for me.
Okay.
So I was trying to...
I might edit that out, by the way. I'm just joking.
talk to myself. For example, in my opinion, and all this stuff. But yeah, it was so hard. So I hired a person, but yeah, it was for a month, just for a month. Mm-hmm. And it was like 4 hours or 5 hours per week. So
that's
every
good.
day for 1 hour, I had a talk, which I hate in general. I mean, about weather, my family, food, blah, 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 where do I live, what I'm doing, all these IELTS style conversations. And yeah, quite surprisingly, even for me, to observe how different I can perform in different day.
Very interesting.
Practice makes perfect. Just continue. Okay, you think you don't progress. Just overcome it. Go further. It's not a linear...
You've just got to keep putting in the time, putting in the effort, and eventually you'll see a jump. You'll see this jump, and like we were saying before, it's just like the light bulb switches on, and like, well, hey, I can speak.
I understand that I'm ready. I think that I'm ready. Was actually when my husband asked me at the kitchen in English something like, have you noticed that genes is very popular topic on speaking in IELTS? But I was checking this resource also. It's Liz.
Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah. I'm going to edit this out of the podcast too. I'm just joking.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm just messing. Okay, so tell me about the genes.
My husband asked me at the kitchen, have you noticed that genes is a very popular topic for speaking? And I said something, yeah, so what? And he started imitate the examiner. So, do you like wear jeans? It was kidding or
just having a laugh.
And I just fluently asked him all his questions with actually quite plain sentences, but bold ones. I mean, I answered the question he asked, and I just realized, wow, it should be fine for 6.
Wow, that's really inspiring. So it was at that moment that you was like, I can do this. Do this. If I can talk about genes totally unprepared and confidently, then I'm more than ready for this IELTS exam. Oh, that's fantastic, Olga. Well done. And I imagine that realization was a real boost as well, no?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, just a point I want to mention for the listeners there is like you said earlier, that you were talking to yourself in English. Yeah?
Yes.
And you changed your environment in your home and your husband was speaking English to you as well in the house.
Yes.
Genius.
So approximately 2 hours per day of speaking.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much. Olga, do you have any other... So, before we finish, 2 things I want to ask you. 1, anything that you would like to add to help current students battling with the IELTS? And then also after that, I'll ask you what your plans are.
And one more thing, as Steve Jobs said. and one more thing, you have to practice regularly. Every day, even if you're exhausted and tired, and doesn't matter what, actually, you have to at least listen to something.
Yes, yeah.
Even if you think you don't understand, actually something is happening in your mind. You still progressing, even if you think that you are just out of condition. And
beautiful point. And now then, Olga, what are your plans now? Are you going to go to... Where do you want to go? Are you going to Canada, US, Australia, England?
Yeah, Australia.
Australia?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have tried many countries.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you're going to go to Australia. You'll be working as IT, you said project manager.
Yeah, I'm project manager. My husband is software programmer, so we should be fine.
And the door is open for people with your type of skills.
Yeah, we are still young, and quite guys.
And you'll be going to Australia, next year or this year?
We don't know. We're just working to have our invitation for a visa. So at least a year.
Okay, then, Olga. Well, I think we can finish there. Yeah, it's been really enjoyable. And you offered a lot of value, Olga, so I appreciate that. And you will be inspiring a lot of students as well.
Thank you, Ben, for your course. It made a difference in my studying of English. Yeah. So it cost every dollar I have paid.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, no.
Thank you very much for your course, for your great job, and for your team who is responding really fast, and it feels like you have a personal tutor in the next room. Yeah, it is really, really cool.
That's fantastic. No, I appreciate that. And thank you very much. And what I'll do, Olga, as well, is probably edit that part and send it to the teachers and the team just to inspire them as well. Getting the feedback.
sure they did a great job. Yeah,
Super.
absolutely.
Well, that's made me super happy now. Bouncing around the office today. All right then, Olga. Take care.
Have a great day, Ben. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to IELTSPodcast.com.